Hey everybody, it's Vader here. Just wanted to do a video on the positions that I'm currently in the market. Positions that I have open, not for the super long-term hold, but for the trading positions that I have open. I'd like to go through, my rationale for being in them, where I plan to get out, and if I'm proven correct, and if I'm proven incorrect, I'd like to point out where I'm going to be getting out of them. So let me just quickly close this window, and let's jump into the first coin. So I'm in 9 different coins at the moment. I just counted them before, and the first one is BitShares. So BitShares, if we go to we're in the 3-month view now. If you're not familiar with my trading style, which you probably aren't, I like to trade with the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, and the reason is I'm currently doing a course that is teaching me this method, and I'm also trying to keep a journal as I go through this course so that I can modify any bad trading behavior that I might be engaging in. So the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation is basically where we look at a long-term, let's go maybe 1 year, a very long-term downtrend. And at the end of that long-term downtrend, I'm just going to change this to 4 hour. Yep. So at the end of a long-term downtrend, what you kind of notice with these coins as they turn around is they'll hit this bottom area, which we call the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. So the 1 is the most bottom. The number 2 is the subsequent high from this bottom. And then as it turns around again, if it fails to continue down to the level of this first bottom, we call that number 3. And so what we get is this 1, 2, 3 formation, kind of like a triangle. Our entry point generally, or my entry point as I'm learning about, is as the price rebounds and begins to pass the level of the 2. And as it begins to pass the level of the 2, that's my buy signal to get into the trade. And there's a turnaround. So you can see here with BitShares is a perfect example of this occurring right now. And there's a big opportunity in BitShares. So there was a 1, there's a 2, there's a 3. And as it's past this 2 point here, the perfect entry would be around the 1300 Satoshi mark. I didn't manage to get in at the 1300 Satoshi mark because I only just saw this recently. So I've bought in here in hopes that it will continue its upward trend. I just want to have a look at the position that I have in BitShares at the moment and document where I'm wanting to get out. So my trade, so I bought in at 1600 Satoshi, and I'm looking to basically double up on that for 3000 Satoshi. And I've only got a small position there of 1000 BitShares, or about 0.03 Bitcoin, and my belief is that it's going to be heading up there. So how do I choose the exit point? I generally look left on the chart and see at previous points where it's hit the resistance. So I can see at this point here there's been previous support at around the 3000 Satoshi level mark. So if I just draw a new line here to document it. So you can see here the 3000 Satoshi mark is kind of where there was a lot of support. So I imagine on the upward trend now, as it kind of hits this mark, it'll also gain a lot of resistance and support around there, and it could bounce down the other way, of course. We don't know which way markets are going to go. We just kind of predict as best we can. So that's why I've set it at around the 3,000 Satoshi exit mark. With some of these coins, I've chosen to dump everything out at a certain point, but you'll see, I think, with some of the other coins that are, the other positions that I'm in, I've chosen kind of a different exit strategy. So let's move on to Decred, or Decreed, however you pronounce it. So you can see the same thing has happened here. You've got this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. I'll just grab a little arrow so I can mark it. So here's this 1 position. Here's the 2 position here, and then here's the 3 position. Let's make them all green, shall we? It's got the 1, the 2, and the 3. And the 3 is because it's failed to come down to the same level at that 1. Now, if the market in this situation, the price actually went lower than the 1, that becomes the new 1. So hypothetically speaking, if it came down to 0.0026 Decreed, then we would make that the new 1. Wait for the market to turn around, hit a 2 and a 3. In this situation, it's hit a 1, 2, 3, and the entry point on this one was around the 520,000 Satoshi mark, or 0.005 Bitcoin. And so I believe I entered the market pretty much at that point. Let's just have a quick look at my trade. Yeah, so I entered at 530,000 Satoshi for this one. And you can see here that my selling points are significantly higher, and I've divided my original purchase into 2 splits here for selling. One being at a certain resistance level, and the next being at the next highest resistant level. I've done this with this particular coin as opposed to BitShares because I'm a little bit more, I guess, long on this coin over the longer term. Just want to go a bit further back here. Change this to the 4-hour candle. Cool. So we can see that if we are drawing these resistance lines, like whereabouts there's previously been resistance to going up, definitely at the 100,000, sorry, 0.01 Bitcoin for Decreed. So that's why I've elected to dump a lot of my position at the 99, so half of it essentially, and that'll pretty much make back what I paid for it at the time, and then the rest of it I'll be able to either offload at a later time at a higher position where the previous, where the next level of resistance is. I think I put it for about 130. That's reaching up to this level here. If I just drag this resistance line, you'll see what I mean. So that's where the next bit of resistance is. So of course, this very likely may not happen, and if you're anything but like a super beginner trader, you'll probably understand that the markets tend to go against you more than they go in your direction. So it's important to keep a close eye on these situations where you entered, and if your position is starting to go the other way, or even if it's going sideways, you only keep the position if you're proven correct, which is a little bit different from how a lot of people trade. A lot of people trade by waiting until their position is proven incorrect before getting out. But it's important distinction there is that if your position is kind of staying stagnant or it's going sideways, it's still not correct. And that's what I see the difference is that if it's correct, it's going upward. If it's not correct, it's either going downwards or going sideways. In the latter two situations, you would get out. Dogecoin is the next one that I'm in. Let's go the longer view because Dogecoin is really interesting. It's got huge spikes. Dogecoin has amazing community behind it, which enables these huge pumps. But I think it's also targeted by pump and dumpers to really, they use the community to make some quick profits. And you can see these pumps, they go very quickly over the course of maybe 12 or 24 hours. They jump right up. This one here, again, pump here, another big pump here, and a huge pump there, lifting it all the way to around 180 satoshis for a coin with this many coins out there. That's huge. That's a huge market cap increase. So I got into Dogecoin originally around the 17 Satoshi mark. I did, as it's going up here, made the mistake of adding to my position when I shouldn't have. I should have waited for it to come back before adding. I added to my position around 26 Satoshis, and then I sold most of my position at around 24, anticipating that it would come back to 20. Now it did come back to 20, and I've reopened a position in Doge for the incoming pump. I believe Dogecoin is going to be pumping quite hard. So I've my trades here. You can see this latest buy was for about 180,000 Satoshi. And just one moment. Yeah, for about 180,000 Satoshi. So what I'm doing is I'm offloading some of my position at 26 Satoshi, just in case that giant pump doesn't come through. And recouping a large amount of my position, but I still have 100,000 left. So this 100,000, I'm just going to do this live now actually. I'll have a look back at where that previous resistance mostly is and determine where a good exit position would be. So if we bring up one of these horizontal lines, we can see that there's definitely some resistance around the 50 Satoshi mark. Honestly, I think that might be a good time to get out of some. I'm going to split it. I think. Maybe I've got 100,000 Dogecoin at the moment. I think it might be wise to go 50,000 at the 55 Satoshi level, and then maybe shoot a little bit higher with, just in case that giant pump does come through and does get to 100. It could even go higher than that, but I'd be very happy with a 5x gain on Doge. So I think I'll chuck the other 50,000 to sell at around the 102 level. So let's go back here and go 50,000. I'll throw that extra change on there as well. We'll sell that at the 54 level, just under where the resistance hit. So we'll pop that order straight in. And then with the remainder, I'm going to be popping that up to the 102 level. And if that does come through, that's a big gain in that position. So I've got those three positions lined up beautifully. And I hope that there's some cheap profits, some quick profits made here at around the 26 Satoshi level. And then more at the 54 and 102. I might revisit this one here. I'm just thinking that one of the things that I'm being taught at the moment is to, instead of selling out of my position early, is to add to your position as it's going up. I guess I feel a little bit burnt from the previous time where I bought at around 26, I think it was. Let's have a look. So I bought some more. So I bought a bunch at 17 Satoshi. Then I bought some more at 26 and sold off. Still making a profit there, but less so. Maybe I panicked. Anyway, I'm back in, and we'll aim to sell 26. I think I'll keep that position there. I'm making significant gains if it does go higher anyway, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Dogecoin breaks my heart. Don't break my heart, Dogecoin. Okay, another one. The next one is Folding Coin. So this one here, very much the same situation. We've got this 1, 2, 3 bottom formation forming, and I'll just get these arrows out again, where we can see the 1, we can see the 2. It's kind of a lazy 2, kind of meanders around here. Still a 2 though, and then the 3, and the 3 again is a 3. What defines a 3 is a failure to go back towards the previous bottom, and you're not always correct in these situations, and that's why it's so important to stay vigilant for when, you know, if the market goes the other way and it starts to go back down, to exit the trade as quick as possible. So I entered Folding Coin at around this mark here, 155 Satoshi. Just have a look. I'll give that a favorite star. Where is it? There it is. Found it. So entered this one at 155 or so. Bought a bunch of them, and I've already set them up to be selling. Very similar fashion to my Dogecoin strategy, where I'm selling some relatively early, and then aiming a lot higher for the second and the third. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that comes off. And I'm going to update this feed. This feed's primarily a journal, way of me keeping track of, you know, my process. But I'll be sure to keep this channel updated. So if you want to get updates, then, you know, bookmark or subscribe or whatever you got to do to pay attention. If you want the updates, that is. Okay, so Golem Network Token, GNT. This I've previously drawn on because I shared it as a trading view. You know how you can publish ideas, and a few people have come through and congratulated me on this call because it was a good call, and it's looking as though it's paying off. So clearly marked here, you've got this 1, this 2, this 3 bottom formation where it's failed to come through. It's gained some support around the 2600, 2500 Satoshi level, and now it's creeped up. And you might think, oh well, why didn't you enter back here? Well, you can't really enter back here because you don't know where it's going yet. You've got a better chance of predicting the future of this if you can confirm that the market is turning around. And one of the ways that you confirm is if it passes this 2 mark. That's one way. Another way is by looking at the turnaround in the moving averages. So if that's also crossing over, it might be worthwhile getting in. The best and most secure way though is by using both. So having a crossover of the exponential moving average and also having the price passing the level of the 2 and breaking through that resistance that it was previously experiencing. So that for me was the 3400 Satoshi mark. It's definitely up from there. It's been up higher. It's my thought that it's going to go significantly higher than that. So let's have a look at my position in GNT, Golem Network Token. It's definitely turning around here, getting very interesting. So I bought 500 of them. This was back in April. These buy and sells, that was back in April when I was doing some scalp trading. It's a little bit different strategy than I currently employ, but I think I must have made something on that. Yeah, 5.05 Bitcoin to 0.06, so it's a 10 or 20% gain there. Okay, so the most recent buys were at 3,500 Satoshi. My aim is to sell the bulk of that at around 5,000. The reason that I'm hitting the 5,000 mark, I'll show you now. The answer lies to the left, my friends. So what we do is we look left and where there was previous resistance, and that was at this mark. See, it's tried to come up, it hasn't broken through the 5,000. It's come back down, it's come back up again to try and break through. So I don't really need the price to break through and stay through. I just need it to hit the 5,000 again, and I'll be in a nice profit for that particular position. Now what that does leave me is it leaves me a handful of GNT tokens as well. So I'm going to look left again and see if I can use the popcorn trading strategy that I've been learning about to look at where the the next best resistance is. Get a little bit greedier with this 100 last GNT that I have. So I could stop at the 7,000, but what if I go crazy and go for 10,000 Satoshi on that, which would be awesome. That one, this one here. That would be nice. That would be a nice little payday. So I just want to reconfirm that around this level here. Yep. Seems to have a lot of resistance. But it does seem to break through the 10,000, and more the resistance is around 11. So let's make it 10,050, just slightly over. And let's lock in that sale. Okay, great. So that's GNT, Golem Network token. Got a couple more here that I'm in. Rep, that's Augur, I think. And again, you can see these lovely formations. The 1, the 2, the 3 bottom formation. And as the price has passed this level of the 2, it's come through here at about 300,000 Satoshi. It's broken through significantly. Now it has kind of dipped down a little bit, which I'm still counting as the resistance level of the 2, which is often the case in these 1, 2, 3 bottom formations, where once they break through this point, they kind of reach up, jump back down, and they'll actually have a lot of support around this previous resistance line. So it's not uncommon. So I'm going to see what happens with this. It does look like it could potentially go the other way, in which case I'll try and get out at around 275,000 Satoshi if I can. But I think I got in right around 300,000 rather, Satoshi. So let's just have a quick look at where I got out on that one. Here we go, rep. So yeah, I bought this at 307,000. So I've already set my sights on 385, 505, and 650k for selling. I'll just have a look at why that was. What were they again? 385, 505, and 650. 385. Really? Nice. So I've got like a smaller amount, probably around close to third, at this spike level. So I'll be able to get some of the money back straight away. That's the first level of resistance. The next was a 550 or so, which would be around here. Now the next level was 650. That was around here. Cool. So these are all previous kind of resistance levels or areas where there's been resistance in the past. With rep, I'm going to keep a close eye on that though, because it does appear that it's going against the usual formation. And rule 1 is of a book that I'm reading called Phantom of the Pits. It has a couple of rules in there about trading, and rule 1 is to exit the position if you're not proven correct. And I mentioned before the important distinction about being wrong in the market and not being proven correct. They're not the same thing. The next one that I'm in is Sia Coin. Sia Coin again making this same lovely formations. Let's have a look and mark it with the arrows. 1, 2, 3 bottom formation. Now with this particular one, you'll probably see, hang on a second, it hasn't actually passed the 2 level yet. The reason I did that is that it actually had a little mini bottom formation, and I'll just mark it with a different arrow here. If you count this as 1, this as 2, and this as 3, because it didn't quite reach the bottom there. It starts to creep up, and it did in fact pass this level. So I think I got in probably around about here as it was passing. Let's have a quick look at what I did get in at. I think it was around 50. Oh, there you go, 54. And this particular one, I'm getting rid of my position at 103 and 133 Satoshi, which again, if we look left, you get a clearer idea of where. I'll just delete these old patterns that I've written on here, which it looks like I was correct about, because it did continue a downward trend after a retrace. So the previous resistance, 133, and around at the 100 level, so around here as well. So that's why I've chosen to close those positions at those points. And we'll be keeping an eye on Sia Coin as well, because if it does continue in the downward trend and turn around, that's what we call a fake out breakout. But really this is one of the ones that hasn't fully broken out, so I'll be keeping an even closer eye on that one. No, I didn't prepare the tabs for this next one, but that's Dogecoin. Pretty new one, this one. And the reason I got into this was different from all the other ones, and this is probably why I should journal it, because it isn't my usual trading pattern. I like the concept of storage. I like the ability to mine storage tokens by offering up your hard drive as cloud storage for other people. So, you know, I'm a little bit bullish on this coin in general. And I did see this beautiful trend line since its inception recently. It changed from a Storage X token to a Storage token, and this beautiful bottom trend line. But if you look closely, it does not seem to be continuing. It seems to have broken through lower. So I'm really going to be keeping a close eye on this one, and we'll be noting if it does start to dip to these 7,600 levels again, I'll be exiting that position quickly. It's very much dancing around this trend line. It's very indecisive at the moment, so I'm not going to be making a decision with this one immediately. I mean, yeah, I'll close that if it's going to be reaching around 7,600. I'll just make a quick note of that as well. 7,600 or so would be my stop loss, SL. Okay, and the last one that I am currently in a trading position for is Vertcoin. Vertcoin, I'm not heaps across. I don't really know a lot about any of these coins, actually. Maybe bits and pieces that I've picked up. But from my understanding, Vertcoin is basically a Litecoin for Litecoin. It's a Litecoin Lite. So it's got a few more tokens than normal. And it's also got a nice bullish trend. The thing about this particular coin, and the reason I bought it, was not because of the 1, 2, 3 bottom formation, although if you look, there is kind of one forming a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Although again, it hasn't broken through this level. So if it does get up to the 80,000 level, it will definitely be a strong buy signal. I would even consider it around 75,000 because it can jump from there quite quickly. I'm in this a little bit more for a longer position, but also I've set up the exit trades on it already. So I'll just have a quick look to remind myself what they are. And look at that. I actually don't have any closing positions on this yet. So this is a good opportunity to look left and see where the resistance was previously for this coin. Just delete that one there. So what did I buy in at then? So I bought in at 51,000 Satoshi. Around this level. And it's gone up a little bit since then. But it's also having this 1, 2, 3 top formation. So it tells me that it might be turning around. It's really indecisive, this coin. So I might set a couple of sell orders up high, just in case it does go that direction quickly. But overall, I think with Vertcoin, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on, even though I'm long on this coin in the long term. So let's have a quick look at where that resistance is. It's primarily around the 92,000. Really, that's interesting. Litecoin seems to have this strong resistance at 0.01 Bitcoin. And Litecoin Lite, aka Vertcoin, seems to have resistance, very strong resistance, even approaching 0.01 Bitcoin. I think it might be worthwhile placing a sell order at around the 95,000 Satoshi mark, just in case it does pop up that high. Because if it does pop up that high, it's likely going to be bouncing off of it before passing through it. So there might be an opportunity there to sell some and pick some up again lower. So in this scenario, I'll be selling everything at once, I think. There we go. That was my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different trading holdings. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll provide updates on those 9 holdings as I go along, whether I pull a stop loss on them or whether I'll be making a profit on them, and I'll be sure to share that with you guys. Okay, toodaloo.